capturing viewers instantly. Sometimes, miracles don't wear white coats, sometimes, they wear torn sneakers and carry nothing but a heart full of hope. Wait till the end of this story, because what one poor boy did will remind you why humanity still matters. If you believe kindness can change the world, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share it, because this one deserves to be heard. It was a cloudy evening in Atlanta when billionaire entrepreneur Richard Hawthorne stood helplessly outside the hospital ICU. For the first time in his life, his money meant nothing. Machines beeped around his daughter, Lily, a bright 12-year-old girl whose laughter once filled his mansion like sunshine through glass. Now she lay pale and still, her heart failing faster than doctors could manage. "Mr. Hawthorne," the doctor said softly, "we've done everything. She has 24 hours, maybe less." The words fell like thunder. 24 hours. Richard stumbled out of the ICU, the world around him a blur. He had bought empires, built skyscrapers, and crushed competitors. But here, in front of a tiny hospital bed, he was powerless. Outside, the city lights blinked coldly as rain began to fall. A storm gathered, both in the sky and in his soul. Meanwhile, across the street from that same hospital, Jamal, a 14-year-old black boy, sat on a park bench under a flickering streetlight. His sneakers were worn, his hands calloused from helping his mother clean offices every night. But Jamal was no ordinary kid. He was brilliant, obsessed with science, medicine, and how the human heart worked. Every night, he'd sit outside the hospital library window, reading medical books through the glass because he couldn't afford to go in. That evening, as thunder cracked and rain soaked through his thin hoodie, Jamal saw a man sitting on the curb, crying. It was Richard. Something inside Jamal made him walk over. "Sir, are you okay?" the boy asked gently. Richard looked up, shocked. Nobody had ever spoken to him like that in years, especially not a poor kid. "My daughter's dying," he whispered, voice breaking. "And all the money in the world can't save her." Jamal sat beside him silently. "Sometimes, it's not about money," he said. "It's about believing in something bigger." Richard stared at him, at his torn clothes, his pure eyes. "What would you know about that?" he snapped, anger covering his pain. But Jamal didn't flinch. "I know my mom's been sick for years, and I pray every night. Not for money, but for time. Maybe your daughter just needs time too." The next morning, Lily's condition worsened. Machines screamed, nurses rushed, and Richard felt the world collapsing. He was told to say goodbye. That's when Jamal walked into the hospital lobby. He wasn't supposed to be there, no visitors were allowed. But somehow, he convinced the receptionist to let him see Lily. When he entered the ICU, everyone stared. The little black boy stood beside the pale girl, holding a small, crumpled flower he'd picked from outside, the last one standing in the rain. He placed it beside her bed and whispered, "Hey, my name's Jamal. You don't know me, but I think you're stronger than they say." He started humming softly, a tune his mother used to sing when she couldn't afford medicine. It wasn't magic, but it felt like it. The air shifted. The machines steadied. Lily's pulse, once fading, grew stronger. Doctors ran in, confused. "What did you do?" one asked. Jamal shrugged, eyes wet. "I just talked to her. Told her not to give up." Over the next hours, Lily's vitals continued to rise. Doctors called it a medical anomaly. But Richard called it something else, a miracle. He asked Jamal how he even knew to come. The boy smiled shyly. "Last night, I dreamed about a girl in a white room who was crying. I felt like I had to come here today." Richard couldn't explain it, but he believed it. Days later, Lily opened her eyes for the first time in a week. When Richard told her about Jamal, she smiled weakly and whispered, "Can I meet him?" Jamal came in, holding another tiny flower. Lily giggled, "You saved me." He shook his head. "No, you saved yourself. I just reminded you how strong you are." Weeks passed, and Lily grew healthier. Richard, forever changed, invited Jamal and his mother to his mansion. They were speechless. Marble floors, chandeliers, a world they'd only seen on TV. At dinner, Richard announced something that shocked everyone. "From today," he said, "Jamal's education, his mother's treatment, their future, I'll take care of it all. Because this boy reminded me what no doctor or fortune could, humanity." Tears filled Jamal's mother's eyes. She whispered, "Thank you, sir." But Richard shook his head. "No. Thank him. He saved my daughter's life, and maybe, my soul." Years later, Lily grew up to become a doctor, specializing in pediatric heart research. And her foundation? It was named, the Jamal Foundation for Hope. Every patient she touched, every heart she healed, carried that story, of one poor boy with nothing to give but faith. Emotional closing with viewer connection. So, the next time you think your kindness doesn't matter, remember Jamal. He didn't have money, he didn't have power, but he had heart. If this story touched your soul even a little, please hit that like button, subscribe for more inspiring stories, and share it with someone who needs hope today. Because sometimes, the smallest hearts make the biggest miracles. Heart.